Imagine opening a scene with a nation at the height of prosperity. The markets are strong, fields are overflowing with crops, and families feel confident about tomorrow. People are celebrating, businesses are growing, and everything feels stable. Yet underneath all that success, there is a shift in the wind, something subtle, almost invisible, that most people would overlook. But there is one man who doesn't overlook it. A man who has learned through hardship that blessings do not guarantee permanence, and that prosperity is not an excuse to relax, but an opportunity to prepare. This man is Joseph. And though his story is thousands of years old, the strategy he used to save Egypt feels more relevant now than ever before. Joseph teaches us that wisdom is often born in adversity, preparation begins long before crisis arrives, and leadership is not about power, but about protecting people. What follows is the powerful, practical blueprint that allowed Joseph to save millions and shape history, not through miracles alone, but through discipline, clarity, and deep understanding of human need. This is not just a Bible story. This is a masterclass in resilience, preparation, and long-term strategy that still speaks to every generation. Joseph's ability to read the signs before anyone else noticed them is one of the most defining traits of his leadership. While others focused on enjoying the abundance of Egypt's good years, Joseph recognized that those years were more than a blessing. They were a warning. Pharaoh's dreams, which troubled him deeply, were not random images but messages pointing toward a future that required wisdom, not denial. When Joseph interpreted the dreams, he did not merely say what would happen. He understood the implications. 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine meant that prosperity would be followed by hardship on a scale the nation had never imagined. Many would have dismissed the dreams or perhaps worried about them for a day and then moved on. Joseph did neither. He understood that ignoring early warning signs is one of the most dangerous mistakes a leader can make. Instead of reacting emotionally, he approached the situation with clarity and calmness. This mindset is incredibly relevant today because so often, people treat success as permanent and assume that good conditions will continue indefinitely. But Joseph's wisdom invites us to notice the subtle signals around us. Economic shifts, social changes, personal patterns, challenges in relationships or health, and prepare while there is still time. He reminds us that awareness is the foundation of stability, and that true wisdom does not wait for crisis to arrive before making a move. Once Joseph recognized what was coming, he proposed a plan that balanced discipline with sustainability. He did not ask people to give up everything, nor did he demand extreme measures. Instead, he suggested saving a portion during the years of prosperity so that when famine hit, Egypt would have enough to sustain its people. This simple but profound strategy has stood the test of time. It teaches that abundance is not a cue to indulge endlessly, but a chance to build a cushion for the future. Even today, many people find this concept challenging because modern culture often celebrates spending over saving, consumption over preparation, and instant gratification over long-term planning. Yet Joseph's method shows that security does not come from how much you have, but from how wisely you manage what you have. Saving during good times is not an act of fear. It is an act of empowerment. It means valuing your future self enough to prepare for uncertainty. It means building reserves emotionally, financially, mentally, and spiritually so that when life shifts, and it always does, you are not left scrambling or overwhelmed. Joseph's approach reflects a principle still used in financial planning: create margin before you need it. But even beyond money, this can apply to time, energy, and relationships. When you build reserves in seasons of strength, you protect yourself from collapse in seasons of weakness. Joseph also knew that preparation without structure is simply wishful thinking, so he designed a system that ensured Egypt's resources would be accessible and effective. Rather than concentrating all grain in one central location, he built storage centers throughout the nation, close to the people who would eventually need them. This is a remarkable demonstration of strategic thinking. He understood logistics long before the concept existed. He recognized that a centralized system could easily fail in crisis, creating bottlenecks, long travel distances, and unnecessary suffering. His decentralized approach ensured efficiency, fairness, and rapid distribution when famine arrived. This principle is incredibly modern. Whether in business, government, or personal life, the systems you build must be able to function under pressure. A company without strong processes collapses during unexpected shifts. A household without structure falls into chaos during emergencies. A nation without efficient distribution systems suffers when times grow difficult. Joseph's ability to think beyond the immediate moment and create infrastructure for the future reveals a level of leadership that transcends time. He built stability while the world was still steady, not when panic forced rushed decisions. His planning demonstrates that wise leaders do not wait until crisis exposes weaknesses. They fortify their systems long before the storm arrives. Trust played a crucial role in Joseph's ability to guide Egypt through its most challenging years. People followed him not just because Pharaoh appointed him, but because he demonstrated consistency, integrity, and transparency. Joseph did not manipulate or deceive the nation. He explained the situation clearly, communicated the plan openly, and showed people that every action taken had purpose and fairness behind it. His past shaped this integrity. Having faced betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment, Joseph understood firsthand the pain caused by deception and injustice. These experiences did not harden him, they refined him. By the time he reached leadership, his character had been strengthened through adversity. This made him the kind of leader people could trust. Trust is a currency more valuable than resources, especially during crisis. People will follow a leader they trust even through difficulty, but they will resist a leader who lacks transparency even in stability. Joseph's example teaches that leadership is not measured by authority but by credibility. When people believe in the heart behind the strategy, they support the strategy itself. Joseph created alignment not through force but through honesty, patience, and clarity. His leadership model remains a blueprint for any person seeking to guide others, whether a parent, teacher, manager, or community leader. When famine finally struck, Joseph's preparation became a lifeline not only for Egypt, but for surrounding nations as well. As crops withered and supplies dwindled elsewhere, Egypt remained steady because its stores were full and its systems were strong. What is striking is how Joseph handled this opportunity. He did not treat the crisis as a way to gain personal wealth or power. He did not allow fear-driven decisions to distort the plan. Instead, he focused on ensuring that people, both Egyptian citizens and foreigners, had access to the resources they needed to survive. His leadership combined strategy with compassion. He recognized that a nation's strength is not measured by how much it hoards, but by how effectively it supports its people. Egypt became a center of stability in a collapsing region because Joseph chose to steward resources with wisdom rather than greed. This approach reminds modern leaders of an essential principle. Crisis does not create leaders, it reveals them. Joseph's steady hand ensured that Egypt did not just survive the famine, but solidified its place as a powerful and respected nation. He showed that preparation is not simply a defensive act, but a way to create opportunity for unity, influence, and long-term stability. At the core of Joseph's entire strategy was a deep sense of responsibility rather than fear. Many people, when faced with warnings of future hardship, respond with panic or impulsiveness. Joseph did not. Even with the knowledge that famine would sweep across the land, he maintained composure, purpose, and confidence. He trusted the process of preparation, the wisdom he had received, and the structure he had built. He understood that fear undermines good judgment, while responsibility strengthens it. This perspective allowed him to make thoughtful decisions without rushing or overwhelming people. Responsibility guided his leadership from start to finish. He knew that the resources entrusted to him were for the good of millions. He recognized that his position was not about power, but about service. This sense of duty shaped the integrity of his plan and ensured that Egypt's citizens remained protected throughout the crisis. In modern life, responsibility remains one of the most powerful antidotes to instability. When people choose responsibility over fear, they make disciplined decisions, build strong foundations, and create futures that can withstand uncertainty. Joseph's story shows that resilience begins with the courage to prepare, the humility to serve, and the wisdom to act early rather than react late. Joseph's journey also highlights how preparation, planning, and leadership intertwine with empathy. His hardships taught him the value of compassion. Having experienced vulnerability and abandonment, Joseph understood what it meant to be powerless. Instead of allowing those experiences to breed resentment, he allowed them to cultivate empathy. This empathy shaped the way he distributed grain, the policies he formed, and the manner in which he spoke to people seeking help. Leaders who understand suffering often lead differently. They make decisions with humanity in mind. They create systems that honor dignity rather than merely achieving efficiency. Joseph's leadership reflects this balance beautifully. His plan was undeniably strategic and brilliant, but it was also rooted in care for the people. He showed that strength does not require harshness and that compassion does not undermine effectiveness. In fact, compassion enhances strategy because it ensures that the solutions designed actually meet the needs of the people they serve. Joseph proves that leadership rooted in empathy creates trust, unity, and long-lasting stability. Another lesson Joseph teaches is the power of long-term thinking. His strategy required patience, discipline, and commitment over many years. Saving grain for 7 consecutive years is not a small task. It takes consistency, resilience, and the ability to see value in preparation long before results are visible. Joseph understood that short-term decisions cannot solve long-term problems. He resisted the temptation to act quickly for immediate applause or take shortcuts. He focused on sustainability rather than instant gratification. Modern society often encourages people to prioritize the moment, but Joseph's approach challenges us to look further. He shows that the strongest futures are built through steady effort, intentional planning, and the willingness to endure the process. The prosperity Egypt enjoyed during famine was the direct result of Joseph's long-term mindset. It reminds us that real success does not appear overnight. It is built slowly, consistently, and deliberately. Humility also plays a major role in Joseph's story. Despite rising to a position of immense authority, Joseph never allowed power to distort his character. He acknowledged that his wisdom was entrusted to him and not something he achieved through ego. This humility made him approachable, trustworthy, and grounded. People followed him because he led with quiet strength rather than loud dominance. Humility remains one of the most underrated qualities of effective leadership. It allows a leader to listen, learn, and collaborate. It prevents pride from clouding judgment and protects against the misuse of power. Joseph's humility ensured that his decisions remained aligned with the well-being of the nation rather than personal ambition. Joseph's preparation can also be viewed as an act of care. Preparing for the future is often misunderstood as pessimism, but Joseph reframed it as responsibility and love. When you prepare, you are protecting the people you care about. You are acknowledging that life is unpredictable and ensuring that those around you will not suffer unnecessarily. Joseph prepared because he valued people. His plan ensured that families, children, elders, and communities would have access to life-sustaining resources during the worst of times. Preparation became an expression of compassion, not caution. In our own lives, preparation, whether financial, emotional, or relational, is a way of creating safety for ourselves and those we love. Perhaps the most inspiring aspect of Joseph's story is that he did not begin his journey with privilege, power, or opportunity. He began with pain. He was sold by his own brothers, taken far from home, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Yet those experiences did not define his destiny. They shaped his character, strengthened his resilience, and prepared him for leadership. His rise to influence is a reminder that purpose is often born in adversity, and that setbacks do not erase potential. Joseph became a leader not because of where he came from, but because of who he became through the trials he endured. His story encourages anyone who feels overlooked or underestimated. It teaches that your current condition does not limit your future impact, and your pain can become the training ground for your purpose. Joseph saved a nation because he cultivated awareness, discipline, structure, trust, compassion, responsibility, humility, and long-term vision. His strategy was not just about storing grain. It was about building stability, protecting people, and turning crisis into opportunity. His timeless wisdom continues to speak to modern challenges and provides a guiding light for anyone seeking to lead with strength, resilience, and integrity.